Hey everybody, we get to have Lisa with us tonight, and it's been so long, it feels like it's been like eons since we've had a chance to visit. And so I'm excited to be able to do this on Zoom so everybody can kind of interact a little bit easier as we get going. Lisa was just at the GoPro event in Vegas for women, and I saw little clips and things that people were sharing, and it looked fantastic. So I'm really excited to be able to hear what you have to share with us, Lisa, and we will definitely make plans to be there next year.
Yeah, well, it'll be fun, but first off, let me share with you that next year's event is going to be April 28th to the 30th. Put those dates in your calendar. You know me, I'm a huge fan of Eric Worre and everything that he's doing for the profession and the space. I've been involved with him since the very beginning, the first recruiting mastery. I spoke there. There were all of 3 speakers and 200 people, and one of them was sort of tricked, for lack of into becoming, at the last minute, and one was kidnapped out of the audience, which was Jim Faubert, and one he went down the street and sort of plucked out of a meeting, which was Richard Brooke, and we've seen that grow to 8,000 people it had last year. It sold out in a week this year, and it will be in a stadium, no doubt, next year. And it's a phenomenal community. But this women's event is uniquely special in a way that I can't describe. It was the best event I've ever been to in my entire life, just in terms of the way that it felt. There were men there, men that are clearly in touch with their feminine side and very supportive of their women. But it was women speaking to women, and there was a camaraderie and a sisterhood about it that I can't say enough. And you want to be there. It was very, very special. And there were so many great speakers that I was just looking through all of my notes, and I'm a big note taker, and I thought I'd just share with you some of the things that I picked up and some of the things that you can do, and tell you that life is stranger than fiction, because through the universe is comical, because I ended up on a social media panel, and I know pretty much nothing about social media. There are people that can attest to that, and Romy would be one of those, because we've talked about all my techno idiocy. And I was able, I think, I didn't speak for 41 minutes because I was listening to the other panelists, really learning a lot. And then I finally figured out my purpose was there, I think, was because of my age, because not that social media isn't done by all ages, but there's something about this younger generation that they were born to text and born to this, and the rest of us sort of have to learn it. And because I could sort of break down what I was hearing to something understandable, but also because when it comes to mic passing with a smile from one panelist to the other and saying nothing, I am a pro. But I also figured out, when I looked at the beautiful young platinum blonde panelists, beautiful blonde, honey blonde, platinum blonde, and Amber Voigt, who was, pretty in pink, that I was the blonde's revenge, because I was the dumb brunette. And how often do you get to see that happen? And then later on, I came up and I actually spoke at the end. And I talked about the 5, when I've done this with this group, I did the 5 phrases that change your life, because I was told I was going to do it with 3 minutes notice and something I could deliver in 10 to 12 minutes. And I had that on demand. But I took so many notes from so many of the speakers, and I thought, well, Gloria Mayfield Banks, she was just awesome, and she talked about confidence. And I thought I'd go through all of her points on confidence, and I thought, well, no, we should save that for next time. And then I thought about Milan Jensen. And Milan Jensen, I'm going to take I thought I'd give you a little thing from each speaker and then really focus in on one of them. So what I got from Gloria Mayfield Banks was, she talked about confidence. And I really want to turn that into a whole thing that we do one time. But before she talked about confidence, she talked about the things she could have talked about. She said she could have talked about decision. And what she said about decision was so profound that I wanted to give it to everybody tonight. She said that decision is so powerful when you make them. And what happens to a lot of people is they get caught in indecision because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. And she pointed out that all decisions are powerful, because when you make a good decision, you're good. It was a good decision. When you make a bad decision, you can fix it. When you're stuck in the land of indecision, if anything at all is happening, things are getting worse, or they're spiraling out of control, or they're going into chaos. So that we just need to learn to make decisions based on what we know at the time. Because if you make a good one, you're good. But if you make a bad one, you've got something to fix. And that really was very profound for me, because when we go to make a decision, it's always to fix or move something forward. But in indecision, you're not fixing anything. And once you have a bad decision, you really can't fix it if it's bad, because now you know what needs to be fixed. But when you try to hang things in limbo, nothing is happening. If nothing is happening, things are getting worse. They're getting more out of control. So that was really a profound takeaway for me, because you shouldn't make rash decisions, but once you've got all the information you're going to get, make a decision. Good one's good, bad one fix. Now, Milan Jensen is amazing. And her story was phenomenal, but what I really got from her takeaway, because I had seen this one before, how many people, and we don't have, and most of you are watching this in replay, I understand, but I do have two other women here with me. How many of you have ever watched Grey's Anatomy? Ever watched Grey's Anatomy? Well, last season, Derek Shepard's sister Amelia had this major surgery she had to do, and before she went to the major surgery, she said, she got like this. And I'm going to turn this up so you can actually see me. And she was like this. And they said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm in my superpower pose. And she stood there for 5 minutes. And I was laughing so hard. And Milan Jensen taught us all Wonder Woman pose. And I had never done it. When I saw it on Grey's Anatomy, I thought, well, okay, it's soap opera funny. And it was amazing. And what she taught us was, all of us, especially as women and men, of course, too, but women, we stand in this place of the little girl, the uncertain woman. No matter how much success you have, you're always at times that person who's kind of unsure. And so it was step to the right, you're that person. Step to the left and go into your Wonder Woman pose. Step back and your uncertain self, and now step into Wonder Woman pose. And she had us all doing this. And I swear, may the Lord is my witness, that it works. You stand like Wonder Woman, your chest out and your arms like this, and you get your feet like that, kind of like Wonder Woman, and you got your Wonder Woman stuff going on over your head, and you get in that mode, and you stand there for like 3 to 5 minutes and just stand there. Before you have to go do something that's daunting, go speak on that stage or whatever it is, and it is amazing. You are a superhero. So I got that, and I just had to pass it along, because if somebody says it to you, it sounds ridiculous. And I don't know that I ever would have tried it if I wasn't standing with 1,200 women who were facing somebody and afraid to tell her we weren't going to try it. And I can only imagine how ridiculous we would all look in a film as we were stepping in and out of our Wonder Woman poses. But I got to tell you, it works. So I'm not sure if Wonder Woman's my chick. For now, I'm being Wonder Woman, because I don't know if she's my ultimate superhero, but until I replace her with somebody else, Wonder Woman. Go Wonder Woman. Okay, and Kim Kiyosaki gave me a very interesting concept too. And it actually would be something like this, or a hangout, not the part that we're recording, but when you actually have a room like this that you can get into with girlfriends. And she talked about how she had 4 friends, kind of like a mastermind group. We've all heard about those, but a little bit different, that she had gone on a trip, on a book tour with, and an education tour. And when they had so much fun traveling for a month and talking, that when it was all over, they wanted to keep it going, kind of the social network, because your social network is so important. And So they've now started reading a book together. And the one they're reading is actually a book that I greatly love. It's The Happiness Advantage, although I like Before Happiness as well. Great books by Sean Aker. I'm a big believer in the happiness movement. And they get together in a room like this every 2 weeks, and they talk about, you know, what the chapters that they've read in the book and what they've learned from the book, and they empower each other. And she's made it a part of her routine. And I realized, you know, the kids, when Hangouts first came out, I remember watching my children get with their friends and actually hanging out. That's what Hangouts were originally designed by when Google brought them out. They weren't for broadcasting on air initially. You couldn't record them initially years ago. They were only held 10 people at maximum. And it was so friends and college students were using them to hang out. You went to this university, you went to that university. Then all of a sudden they had the broadcast ability, the record ability, and they became webinars. And we all started using them for business and for various things, for education, for long distance education. They've been applied to all of these uses by businesswomen, but just for friends that are separated by distance, or people that you meet at a conference like the one that we were at this weekend that may not be in your same company, but that you can learn from or that you connect with. So I thought that was a marvelous takeaway. And I'm really thinking about the different things that we can do to empower and enrich ourselves so that we perform better in our businesses that are not directly tied to our businesses along a personal development line. So I thought that was a phenomenal takeaway. Susan Sly talked all about organization. I'm the most disorganized person in the whole world, so I loved her presentation and I hated her presentation, if you know what I mean, because it spoke to me and it reminded me that I really need to get back to the business of getting organized. But some of the statistics were just so funny. And I'm going to have to get the presentation. I couldn't write them down fast enough. I did screenshot some of them on my phone, but I haven't had a chance to go through them. But one of them was that 68% of women would rather have a clean closet than great sex. You know, and I don't mean, I'm sure that's not every day of their lives, but on the day that they were surveyed, because we all of us, I mean, I came home and looked at my closet and it's relatively neat, but it's not clean. There's stuff in there that I probably haven't worn in 5 years that needs to be thrown out. And you know what you do? You pick it up and you say, okay, I haven't worn you in 5 years, but maybe someday, and it goes back in the closet. And so my big takeaway from her, and there were so many, was get rid of anything that doesn't make you happy. You know, if it doesn't make you happy, just get rid of it. If you pick up a dress and, you know, looking at it, maybe it's the dress like for me, you know, that dress was 10, 12 pounds ago. I may never be that size again. And I'm older now. I don't know. And I can't even begin to tell you how many years ago it was. But if I get to 10, 12 pounds again, I'm not even sure I look the same. That was a decade ago. Looking at it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't fit me now. It reminds me of when it did fit me. If it ever gets down to that size again, who knows if I will even look good in it. It'll probably be some old dress that I hung around with for 14 years and don't know what it was doing there. And if I do get down 10, 12 pounds, what do I need an old tacky dress for? I deserve a new one, and I'm going to buy myself a new one. So get rid of anything that doesn't make you happy. Be a pack rat with stuff that you enjoy, but the rest of it, get rid of. And that was a big takeaway for me. Rita Davenport. Life gets out of the way for the person who's got somewhere to go. And that you don't get what you don't ask for. So don't be afraid to get off your ask. Which I thought was a great quote. And Sandra Yancey's training is the one that I decided to go through in depth because she talked about leadership. Actually, the 5 L's of marketing and successfully. And I just thought that it was so profoundly effective for what we do. Because what she talked about was that leadership was about taking action. And I thought that that was a great definition because we hear so many definitions about what leadership is, and it's really about leading. You know, we think about being a great leader and displaying good leadership, and a lot of times we're talking there about those are qualities we talk about. But leadership is really about leading, and if you're leading, you're in front, which means you really half the time don't know where you're going because you're leading the way, figuring it out, and half the time you really don't know who's following. So it's really about taking action and staying one step ahead of those that are following you, and if you figure it out a half a step before they do, you know it in front anyway. And then she talked about R&D, which is robbing and duplicating. And I think that's a huge, huge plus in marketing. I think it's something that we all should do every day. We call it modeling. But what I really liked was leadership is about learning to live in duality. And I talk about this a lot. I just never talk about it in the words that she put it in. I thought it was so really profound. Living in duality is learning to accept the fact that you are an expert in some things and a beginner in others. And that's the way it's always going to be. And you only have to get good enough at something to be able to work with somebody who is better at it than you are, world class, so that you are free to be world class at what you're world class at. And that great CEOs, and we are all CEOs of our own businesses, but what happens is, oh my goodness, well, this free meeting will end in 10 minutes. We have to hurry. What happens to all of us is instead of becoming the CEO, which is Chief Executive Officer, we become the COE, which is Chief of Everything. We try to do everything. And that we need to focus on the things we're really good at and recognize what we're a beginner at and ask for help and work with others that are great at that. So leadership, one was leadership. Two was learning. You're only as good as the people you spend your time with, and that you have to, and that you can't build $1 million dream with a minimum wage mindset, and that you have to be surrounding yourself with people not that are better than you are at the things that you want to become better at if you're going to become better at them. And that was a big takeaway for me because I surround myself with people that are great, but often it's people that are great at the same things I'm great at. So now we've got all this expertise at this one thing, and we're all bumbling and fumbling at this thing that we need help with. So I think that that's very important. The next thing she talked about was learning how to lose with grace. Because we all know how to win, but you're not always going to win. And not everything you lose is a loss. But when you learn how to lose, you really can learn how to win. She talked about listening, but not just listening like this, but getting quiet so that you can listen to what you're trying to tell yourself. And then she talked about love. And I think that we talk about success too often in other people's vision of success. And it's creating a life that we love. And that's what really network marketing, what your doTERRA businesses give you the opportunity to. They give you the opportunity to create a life that you love, whatever that means to you. And not everybody is chasing blue diamond or presidential diamond or platinum. And I think I met quite a few, we had quite a few speakers from your company on the stage. Some people are chasing $400 a month, you know, or getting their kids out of daycare, or getting their kids into daycare, you know, or a family vacation. And you have the opportunity to create a life that you absolutely love. And that's what it's all about. And when you do that, it all works. And that's what I think was really my biggest takeaway from the weekend is success is creating a life that you love, whatever that means. And being able to spend make the rest of your days the best of your days with the people you choose to spend those days with. And the biggest takeaway I'm told that people got from me, and I said, was that we're here to impact impactors. If you assume a position of leadership, if you want to make a big difference, most people, I think, if you really push hard, especially women, but most people, what they really want is, first of all, to take care of their family, their people they know, love, and care about. And then secondly, they want to help other people. And the best way that we can help other people, of course, once we've helped ourselves, you have to help yourself first so that you can be filled up to help others, is we're here to impact impactors. You want to spend your time helping those that can impact the most, who can impact the most, because that's how we help the most people. And too often we get caught up focusing our time on people that may need a lot of help, but they don't need the amount of time we give them, because they're not going to take that investment of your time and go out and multiply it so that it impacts many, many others. And you have too much talent to make it a one-to-one transaction. Network marketing gives you the opportunity to make it a one-to-the-many transaction so that you can do one-to-one with impactors. You know, and tools like this make that very possible. You can work with people in group. You can touch so many and impact so many if you'll step up to do that. And what I want to leave you with, what I did today was an example of something I learned from Ray Higdon, and that's called ILT. Invest, learn, teach. Very often people don't know how to get up and share. They don't know how to share content. They don't know what to do. And it's as simple as investing. Sometimes you invest money. There's so much out there that's free that you don't have to invest money, but you do have to invest time. You invest time or money in learning something. You invest and then you learn it, and then you just turn around and you teach it, and you can teach from your notes, which is basically what I did here. And you've all seen me. I can go over a lot of stuff without notes. I can spend time. I can make it my own, but that's practice, and that happens over time. You do it the first time, you do it the second time. I think I did pretty well with the 5 things that people teach, the 5 phrases that will change your life this past weekend. Because one of the first times I taught it was with you guys when I'd come fresh off the TED Talk I got it from, and I had my notes on the counter, you know, where I'd written down just the 5 phrases, and I started to talk about what they meant to me. And then I did that again and again, and I made it my own. So with crediting, of course, you know, Adam Braun and his TED Talk, which is where I got it, the original 5 phrases, so that by the time I was asked to go deliver a talk sort of impromptu in front of 1,200 women, I had it in my back pocket because I had invested my time, I had learned it, I had taught it off a notebook, I had taught it, and that's how you get yourself started. And you can start with things as simple as videos. You know, just invest some time, and you can start with, you know, I went to this meeting and I learned, you know, so-and-so spoke and they taught this, or this is how you do a compliment, you know, this is how you explain the opportunity. And you can do it right off your notes, because you will get better and better and better. And it's very duplicable. So that's kind of what I wanted to share tonight before we run out of time and they end the meeting. Romy, is there anything that you've got?
That was perfect. It was perfect. I loved that. And that was good for me, because I'm kind of stuck in some of that. So it was great to hear again about just teaching and off your notes and just do it, because I have a block there for some reason. And
well,
so
I would suggest you make a decision that next week you're going to grab your notes and you're going to go teach something.
Yep, exactly. That was perfect.
And every one of you that's watching this as well, start your local market, start with your local meeting. You know, make a video, share it with just your team, share it in just a group with people until you get comfortable, because you'll get better and better and better and better, and that's where it all starts. Believe me, I've spoken in front of big crowds. Once upon a time, I didn't like to speak in my own living room to my fireplace.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you more than you know. I've missed you, my friend. So I hope we can do this more.
I'll be here next week as well. How about that?
That's perfect. And I'll upgrade my account. I had no idea that was going to happen. So I will definitely be upgrading.
They usually get you that way. They give you just enough to fall in love. Yeah. And then they got you. But this is an excellent platform and well worth the money, whatever they charge, I'm sure. Yeah. Because I just see where you can do a lot of internal stuff, and it would be really cool to just explode your teams.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Thank you very much. Love you tons.
Love you. See you. Thank you.